well, not a product of failure, but I mean, you know, going back to her parents and the way she was raised, and I mean, yeah, she had a handicap, but they could have, you know, treated her a little bit different. Maybe that would have changed.
They could have embraced her more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her mother was a bitch.
Well, and she was such a perfectionist, and she had an imperfect child.
Yes, and she couldn't deal with that.
So we're back to the mother syndrome.
And so, you know, I really wish it would have elaborated on her childhood more, because it makes you wonder. Obviously, May had been mentally abused, which can be stronger than physical abuse.
Yes.
But exactly what was the extent that the abuse went to?
Yeah,
that's what I want to know.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And then there are people that are just born with just a few screws loose, and they are just gonna go off that deep end, no matter what.
Yes.
Miss Fierce.
I think he's
You better
coughing
sleep
about
with
you.
one eye open tonight.
But not the lazy one either.
Yeah, the lazy eye just don't do me any good.
I will rip your heart out with a spoon.
Now, the end of the movie, where she rips her own eye out with the scissors.
Wow, the symbolism there.
There is so much symbolism in the last few minutes of the movie. Such as when she puts her hand on the doll's chest and says, "What I feel, you can feel." And the doll can't feel anything. So, does that mean she's about to reach a level of numbness or a level of delusion where her wishes do come true? And if she is reaching that level of delusion, then when the doll that she made reaches over and cradles her, is that her delusions, or is the doll really reaching over and holding her?
Oh, I would say it's definitely her delusions. I don't think that he's a lie. It's a lie.
No, there was a
body parts.
I saw a debate on this before, and it could be a delusion. I'm going with delusion, but someone had said that the golem, the monster, the golem, I believe.
Yes.
They said that the only way to wake up the golem was to put its name on its forehead, and that would wake it up. She gave it a name named Amy, and then she put Amy across its forehead, and then it woke up.
That's right, and there was a heartbeat.
But only after she put her eyeball on it, it did awaken.
Yeah, but there was a heartbeat before, because remember I heard it. Did you hear it?
Yes.
And she put her ear to its chest because it shocked her that she thought she heard a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. But it couldn't see her.
Yes, and that's the reason why she cut out her own eye. Was it her lazy eye?
No, she didn't cut her lazy eye out, I don't believe. She cut her good eye out because that was the perfect piece, and she was going for perfect pieces.
Right. It looked like the lazy eye because she was looking in the mirror.
That's it.
The camera view was through the mirror. But that was just so... When she said, "You can't see me, you can't see me, see me, see me." And then all her life, all she wanted people to do was to see her.
As her.
As her, the person.
Her inner beauty.
Yes.
Which she had tried to display plenty times, but just failed miserably because she never had any positive role models in her life to show her how to do that.
And she was a little awkward towards some of her advances.
Well, I think that's just because no one, we got the sense that no one really cared enough to demonstrate how to do that. The only people that demonstrated anything in the movie, such as a warm emotion, was the ones that wanted to have sex with her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like taking a teenager or a child who is jumping from the stage of being a child to losing their virginity, and them wanting to do it, but everyone around seeing that they're not ready for it. It's like that's what she did. She went from being a child to try to being an adult, but she missed out everything that was in the middle that she was supposed to learn.
Right.
It happens every day.
Miss Fierce.
What? I'm not speaking from personal experience. No, not at all. I'm just saying I observe.
You say this as you've counted off all the people you've been with?
I'm not talking about me.
You're not?
No.
Then why did you come up with a list of about 200 or 300 people the other night?
It wasn't that many.
All right, just the country, I guess.
Just the Ukraine.
Okay, well that works. What's your
And
thoughts
all
on
of Ireland.
All the British Isles. I don't know what you're talking about.
Wait, if she was doing that in Ireland, that wasn't the screaming banshee then, that was you!
I don't scream like that. They do after I've had my fill of them. Because I'm like the lightning bug.
And they sound a lot like May when she jabs the scissors into her eye.
Of
Yes.
That is a...
Oh, that reminds me.
Yeah.
And she was crying just before she did that. It's
Yeah.
like she knew what she had to do, and she didn't really want to do it. She didn't really want to cut her eye out.
But she felt she had to.
But she felt she had to. She had to. But she was crying before she did it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the kind of cry that you have when you don't really want to do something, but you have to do it.
Yes. Homework.
It was it was her own personal sacrifice.
Right. Right.
Okay. Well, with that said and done, you really need to see May. It's
yeah.
a phenomenal movie. It's the first movie by Lucky McKee that is out.
Your butt off. If
Other
you're sick and twisted like us.
And you'll never buy a doll in a case ever.
Especially one that just looks
That creepy.
creepy.
and compliments won't be taken very well after that either. It's I'm kind of scared to hear someone say I like your hands.
Yeah.
I love your hands.
And before we wrap up completely tonight, I want to speak to our guest a little bit more about her book that she is soon to have published. Be on the lookout for The Lost Child of Isa.
Lost Daughter of Isa.
I'm sorry, The Lost Daughter of Isa by J.L. Mulvihill, a young adult fantasy work. Now, could you tell me what your inspiration was for this?
Yeah, the inspiration actually started out as a dream, kind of a scary dream, really. I had this dream that I was running through the woods from a giant spider.
Henceforth, your love of spiders.
I hate spiders. It really creeped me out. And so I kept thinking about the dream, and it just kept going over and over in my head, and it wouldn't go away. And then all of a sudden, it kind of started turning into this story, and it started developing, and then these characters started popping up in my head, and it wouldn't go away. It just kept coming on and more and more and more, and I started telling my family about it, and my husband's like, why don't you write it? Just write it. So one day I'm like, okay, I'm going to write it, and I thought it would be just like this little short story, and so I started writing it every night when I got home from work. I'd be writing, or in all the weekends, and next thing I know, I had this 180,000 word novel. Well, that's a lot. So I ended up having to cut it back. But yeah, so that's how it came to be.
Okay, awesome. And could you tell me what your book is about? And is it the first book of a series?
It's a standalone novel, but there's room for there to be a series, definitely. It's kind of a Tolkien-ish meets Lady Bathory kind of book. It's about a 17-year-old girl who falls through a portal and wakes up with amnesia in the middle of an ancient forest. She finds that there are hungry wolves, demons, and goblins chasing her, and she has to learn to survive all of these and try to figure out who she is and where she belongs. And all through this, there's this witch that is after her because this witch somehow knows who she is and her secrets. So that's, without spoiling it too much, that's pretty much what it's about. There's some good battles in there because I love battles. Kind of freaked my kids out because I bought a sword so I could wield the sword around and kind of get the feel for, how a girl would handle a sword, especially one who's never picked the sword up in her life,
What, was it pretty heavy or pretty easy to maneuver?
Actually, the one I bought was, but after talking with some people, I found that in ancient days, because it's kind of set in a kind of a Middle Earth medieval type setting, because it's fantasy. The original swords would have been pretty heavy. For someone who doesn't have the arm strength to pick something like that up, it would have been kind of hard for them to fight with it. So she doesn't know when she first picks it up. She can't fight with it, so she has to learn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really awesome. Now, you said that the witch is after her because the witch knows who she is, and you said that the novel is a standalone, so I'm assuming that we learn who she is at least by the end of this book, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
But I plan on having other books follow it. There is a planned series in my mind because there's a sequence of events that I want to happen, and I love dragons, and I want some dragons.
Now, from what I understand, and this is just speaking with the critic Mad Mama Lou, who had read your book and gave a few suggestions, which were very minor. She said there wasn't hardly anything much that needed to be changed, if anything, I believe. But she just raved your book was amazing, and with her reading this to her 12-year-old son and him enjoying it just as much as she did, I'm assuming that not only is this a book for young adults, but this is also a book that adults can enjoy as well.
Yeah, that's what I've been told, and I really appreciate that. I didn't actually and deliberately write this for young adults. It kind of just happened that way. I mean, I have kids, so I didn't write any bad language in there just because I have kids and I just don't use that sort of language, so it just kind of happened that way.
Well, also with the time span that, the time frame that it is set in, I don't really think they went around dropping F-bombs left and right.
I don't think so either. I mean, there is some cussing, but in their own way,
It's their own language of cussing.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
And I did a lot of research. I love Nordic, Celtic, Scandinavian history and folklore, so I did a lot of research and tried to pull some of that into it, kind of bring alive the old legends and folklore into that. I have frost giants, which I love frost giants, and just kind of whispers of other things that may come in the other books. I used the word Alfar as a description of my elves, and people say, talk about elves, they think of these little things with pointy ears running around. My elves are human size. They're
not the Keebler elf.
No, they are not the Keebler elf.
I was kind of hungry there.
And they do have quite the personality, and they have their own problems too, and I might have thrown a little bit of politics in there too, possibly, because I did like to appeal to the adults too, so there's a little bit of strategy, and I don't know, I wrote what I like to read, and they say write what you know.
Yes.
And I read a lot of Tolkien and Terry Brooks. I read sci-fi too, Heinlein and Ray Bradbury, and I know that's not really what I wrote, but I like a lot of that
It's
stuff.
in the genre. You don't really have a sci-fi author sign on to do a Harlequin romance and just jump into doing that and enjoy it, because their heart is in sci-fi, their heart is in fantasy, and I completely agree. You not only have to write what you know, but you have to write what you're passionate about.
Exactly. And I love fantasy, and I love to put things that are plausible and possible. I have vampire deer. Which there really were vampire deer. No, they don't suck your blood, but they really are vampire deer.
Okay. Are you going to elaborate, or do we have to buy the book?
I can elaborate on that. It's actually a deer. I thought they were extinct, but I was watching the Discovery Channel not long ago, and they are still alive. They're a deer that have like these tusks growing out of their mouth a little bit, and they look like vampire fangs.
Really?
And they're really quite cool looking, and they're small and kind of dainty, and I was thinking, oh, that would be really cool.
So they're almost like the size of a Durka in a way?
Sort of, yeah.